Hello, welcome to Knitting in the Wild, where, as the name says, I knit in the wild. Maybe not so much like the wild, but definitely in the woods. Um, it's why I picked the name, gosh, a long time ago, because at the time I was knitting while I was camping. And I spent a lot of years um, camping on and off. And I was a tent camper mostly. And then a few years ago, I bought Verna. She is a 2015 reissue of a 1962 Shasta Air Flight, and I am smitten. So now I get to sleep off the floor, and that's nice. But I should probably start with introductions. If you don't know who I am, I'm Sarah. I am the face behind Knitting in the Wild, and I am here because the world needs yet another knitting crafting video vlog, don't you think? Maybe not, but I'm going to give it a whirl anyways, because why not? I have brought a plethora of things to show you today from my little spot in the wilderness. I am currently at Wild River State Park in Minnesota. Minnesota is very lucky to have a lot of gorgeous state parks. Wild River is sort of my backyard state park. It's the one that I first started camping solo at because I felt safe here. It's a pretty big state park. It has like 5 campground loops, and it's not too crazy, but it's usually, pretty full. The spots are nice and far apart, so you never feel like you're right on top of someone else. And the ranger comes through often, so you feel really safe here. And the hiking is fantastic. One of the loops is right down along the river. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful hike. There's also a paved hike that you can go on if the kind of bumpier section along the river isn't for you. But it's a gorgeous park, and it's only about an hour and 20 minutes from the Twin Cities, so not very far at all, but you definitely feel like you're out in the woods. They say every time I come here, they're like, beware, there's black bears. I've yet to see one, so don't be too frightened. I have seen a lot of deer come right into my campsite, and the occasional scampy raccoon. But other than that, primarily just birds and squirrels and, your general flora and fauna around here. But so if you ever have a chance, you should come check it out because it's a gorgeous, even if you're not a camper. I mean, the drive from the Twin Cities is really not very far, and the hiking is beautiful. I've really only done the river loop along the river, but I know there are other hikes within the park as well. So that's enough about hiking and camping, except for I'll probably talk a lot about that. But again, Sarah, Knitting in the Wild, breast cancer survivor, mother, knitter, crocheter, weaver, spinner, artist, painter, maker of all the things. If you've known me for 5 minutes, you know that if there is a craft on this planet, I will have already have tried it. And if I haven't tried it, I will soon try it. I will buy all the things for it. I will dive so deep into it and then feel really bad when I have to give it up because I have too many projects going on as it is. The one thing I will say is scrapbooking. That's the one thing I never could get a handle on. Thought I was going to be great at it, just sucked at it. But that's okay. You can't be great at everything. But my primary thing that I do is knitting, which is why I chose the name Knitting in the Wild. And I do that a lot. Recently, my knitting mojo has been sort of sliding. And I think that by doing this, I'm hoping that I can get that knitting mojo back. So I brought a few things to share, some works in progress, some whips, as we call them. So I was going to share those with you, and then a finished object and some other things that I've been working on. Thought I'd share with you today. Let's get started, shall we? The first thing, oh, I dropped my yarn. I'm going to go get it. Hold on, I'm going to go get it. That is one thing that will happen when you're knitting in the wild. You will have dirt in your yarn. Dirt and leaves in your yarn. So, and I dropped it again. Okay, I'm back. So this is the Amy sweater by Petite Knits. I knit one at the beginning of the year for myself in black, and I liked it so much that I wanted to knit another one. And my mother has been saying, when are you going to knit me a sweater? And that's a good question, because she deserves a sweater because she puts up with me. So I picked this beautiful red color because she looks great in red, and started up. All I have left to do is the turtleneck, and to finish off the sleeves, I need to get her to try it on to see where I should finish off the sleeves. It is Knit Picks Swish. I'm a little far away from the camera for that to be really good, but Knit Picks Swish. It's a DK weight. It is 100% fine superwash merino wool. I like this. It's inexpensive, but it's still a nice, it's the color Serrano. But yeah, the Petite Knits patterns are easy to knit, aren't they? They're just easy. They're pretty quick. There's no fancy footwork in them. It's all pretty standard stuff. And I can't remember what the sizes were. I think that it went up probably not as big of a size as I would like it to. One of the things that I've always really pushed for is size inclusivity. But this one just worked out really well for myself at the time, and I was in need of a simple turtleneck to wear with some houndstooth pants that I have, and I think my mom's really going to like this. So I will say one of the things that I do for myself that I have to be very careful with on my mom's sweater is I knit sleeves for my own sweaters to where I want them, knowing that once I block the sweater, it's going to get even longer. I like a long sleeve, a long sleeve. My mother, however, does not. She does not want her sleeves hanging down over her thumb. So I have to measure this carefully, knowing that this fabric is going to block pretty aggressively. And I don't want her to be dragging her sleeve as she walks. So that's why we're going to go try it on when we get home from camping. So yeah, Petite Knit. That's a good one. I like that one. Good color, fun color. Okay, what else did I bring? I brought, oh, this one. Yeah, okay, so this one is the CatKnit sweater by Andrea Rangel. Rangel? I might be saying her name wrong. If I am, I apologize. I don't know. Can you see that? Oh, those cats are so adorable. I saw this sweater and I immediately ran to the yarnery in St. Paul. Shout out. And picked up some yarn. I got the fiber company Ambel Wandering Souls. The color is Windermere. And then I don't know what the contrasting color is. A creamy, lovely of some sort. Ambel is a fingering weight wool alpaca nylon blend, and it is quite lovely. I tend to stay away from alpaca because I know this is going to sound crazy. It's itchy to me. Of all the fiber in all the world, why alpaca is itchy to me, I will never know. But this is only 20% alpaca, so it's not too bad. And this is where I have to test it out, right? In that little weird spot on the back of my neck to make sure it's not going to make me immediately like, ooh. But I'm having a problem with this. I started this a while ago, and as you can see, I'm not very far. Have you ever had a sweater or anything that you're knitting that you start and you are so jazzed? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then you start it and it just doesn't suck you in. It just doesn't have the pull that you thought it would. Yeah, this is that sweater for me. And listen, I know there's so many people knitting this sweater. It's a beautiful sweater. It is well written. It is, and I've been knitting for 25 years. So I feel like I can say something about the well-writtenness of a pattern. It is well written. It is gorgeous. It is fun. Clearly, it should keep a person interested. And look at those faces. Come on. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just like, well, and it's been sitting in a bag next to my chair for a while now. And the yarn is too nice to just let it sit there. I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to pull it out. I think I'm going to use the yarn for something else. Maybe the yarn was meant for something else and this pattern was meant to have a different yarn. I don't know. But if you have ideas on why this is happening to me, let me know, because I hate to think that, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this has happened to me before. Don't get me wrong. I'm sitting here talking about this like it's the first time it's ever happened in the history of my knitting. No, I have a box full of things that are unfinished because I thought they were going to be great and they just somehow did not speak to me as I started them, and then I just let them go. And depending on how expensive the yarn was, sometimes they just stay in that box forever. This yarn's too nice though. I think I'm going to have to figure out something else to make with it. And that's okay. I think that's okay. But if you're knitting that sweater, I'm sure you're enjoying it. And I'm sure, given the right combo, I will enjoy it as well. So, okay, what else? What else? Oh, the thing that I'm working on right now in earnest is the All About That Brioche shawl by Lisa Haynes. Again, if I'm saying that name wrong, I apologize. But 25 years knitting, 26 years knitting, I have never knit brioche. just never did. I don't know why. And one of my good friends is the brioche goddess, Peggy. She knits brioche all the time. I have no idea why I've never knit brioche, but I thought this might be a good intro to the brioche, and it was. It's a triangular shawl, right? And then in the middle of it, there are these two little panels of the brioche. So you kind of get to work on it without it being such a big project of brioche that it's daunting or scary. Because I think the reason I didn't work on brioche for so long is that I knew that if you make a mistake, it's not as easy to just drop a stitch and fix it like you can in stockinette stitch. I'm very good at fixing my mistakes, but I have heard that fixing your mistake in brioche is not as easy as it may look. So I think I was like, I better not do it. But I did it. And it turns out that in these little panels, these two little panels, they're reversed. So that's what she does. She has you do it one way on the first panel. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can. And then you reverse them on the second panel. And it turned out really nice. It was not daunting once I got going with it. It's not, for me, it was not television knitting yet, right? Because I had to look at the pattern each row to make sure that I was on the right, because you're increasing and decreasing on edges. Making sure you're staying, once you're in the middle of the pattern though, you kind of got your groove on, you kind of know what you're doing. But yeah, I like it. I think it's going to end up being a nice shawl. This is my own hand dyed yarn, so that's kind of fun for me. But yeah, so I think I'd probably knit this one again. Yeah, definitely. So that is all my works in progress that I have with me today. I did bring one finished object that I thought I'd share. I didn't finish it this year though. I've been wearing it for a few years. It's also my hand-dyed yarn, and it's also a triangular shawl. It is the Woollsia shawl by Ambah O'Brien, sorry. And it's just, oh gosh, I love these shawls. I don't normally wear them like a shawl. Although the other day at work I did. I was a little chilly and I just kind of wrapped it around me like such. But normally I just wrap them around and around and around, and I wear it kind of as a scarf. But they're so cushy. They're so squishy. This is fingering weight yarn, as was the All About That brioche. It's fingering weight yarn. It's a wool, I think 80-20 wool nylon blend. This one is 3 separate colors. It's a multicolor, then a gray, and then a sand. The other one was just 2 colors, the multi and then black. But yeah, I think I have a serious addiction to knitting these scarves. And I think when I'm feeling like my knitting mojo is waning, I think that's what I'm drawn to. I think, well, if I could just get a shawl going, get a triangular shawl going, that's going to bring it all back to me. And so far so good, because this one I just started not too long ago. So yeah, I like it. So yeah, there is my works in progress, my whips, and my finished object. I don't have a what you're wearing because camping, right now I'm not wearing anything. It's a beautiful weekend here in Minnesota. We've just came off of super hot, muggy, gross disgustingness. And somehow the universe must have known I needed this camping trip, because we haven't been able to camp much this summer so far. and it said, "We will make it beautiful. No bugs, no mosquitoes, no humidity." It was gorgeous. So gorgeous that I brought some of my little trinkets that I've been making. I'm going to be at Yarnover. I have a booth at Yarnover. So I brought some of my trinkets that I'm going to be selling at Yarnover so that I could take photos of them. This is some ornaments. I'll be selling ornaments. I'll be selling my my stitch markers. We've got the little Lake Superior. My stitch markers are heavy on the outdoorsy theme. There's hiking boots and fire, little campfire and a Minnesota. But I am throwing in some October themed in there because Yarnover is in Minneapolis in October, the first weekend in October, October 4th. So I'll be bringing some of that to my booth and hopefully some of my hand-dyed yarn. I don't have a big, giant hand-dyed business, but I do have some. I like to try and do a couple colors that kind of go with some stitch markers, so we'll see how that goes. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was something that I've started up again that I don't know why I stopped. Do you guys bullet journal? Oh my gosh. I used to bullet journal. I have probably 3 bookshelves full of my bullet journals. I used to do it all the time. I loved it. Some days, some weeks would end up blank, and that was okay for me. And some weeks I would draw and paint in them. I would use them for work. I would use them for budgeting. I would use them for, you know, the year that I had cancer, I had all my chemo stuff. That happens to be this one. All my appointments. And I realized recently that I have not done one in a year and a half. And then I thought, I wonder if that's why I keep forgetting my appointments. So I bought myself a new bullet journal off of the interwebs, and I started it again. I've never started mid-year, so this is new. But part of, I think, what I really like about the bullet journal, not only keeping like to-do lists and stuff like that, or writing down your, I'm definitely one of those people that if I write it, I remember it. It's not the same putting it in my phone. It's not the same typing it onto an app. I know the app will make an alarm and remind me. I don't care. That alarm will go off and I'll hit the snooze and I will not care. 20 minutes later, I'm like, what was that for? But for whatever reason, if I write it with a pen, it's like I somehow remember it better. But also what I really like about it is how soothing it is for me to just draw the lines and make the colors, choose the colors. Just creating the base of the bullet journal is really, it's like yoga, maybe a meditation of some sort. So I'd be interested to know if you too bullet journal or journal of any. This is the books I'm going to be reading. It's blank right now. I do have one that I'm going to fill in. I'm going to print this. I don't know where I saw this, probably on the Pinterest. But I'm going to be printing out covers of the books that I read and gluing them in here. And then probably on this side, I'll give a little, I liked this book because, or I didn't like it because, I don't know. Not that I let anyone read these. necessarily, so I don't know if it's going to help anybody, but it's soothing to me and it keeps me on track. So here I am with my new bullet journal, all of my knitting, some of my trinkets, a campfire, Verna. Oh, but that's what I'll show you, because I do have one of my stitch markers, and then I'll say goodbye. One of my stitch marker sets, I call them sweater sets because there are 4 stitch markers that are the same, and anyone who has knit sweaters know that you sometimes need stitch markers in the 4 corners of the sweater where you're increasing for your sleeves. And then the one stitch marker is different, and that is the beginning of the round stitch marker. So I call them sweater sets. But this particular sweater set of stitch markers, well, that's Verna Lucille. That's my camper. So thanks for coming along today. I hope that you enjoyed my ramblings about knitting and bullet journals and camping. I hope that you join me again, because I plan on doing this some more, because now the rest of my summer is weekends are full of camping, and yeah, I have lots to share. So I'll see you later.